Warning, nature at work. Yes, and she's been on this job for many 100,000 years. And on this one, too, carving a few inches each century. Patient, inexorable labor, a product often too much for the stomach of puny man. Yes, much too much. But again, creating fantastic monuments to the forces of erosion with a sky-borne instrument stored in its white bulk to be melted into trickling springs. Meadow brooks, bouldered creeks, swollen rivers, raging rapids. Here, the angriest of all waters, the Colorado of the Grand Canyon, has bitten deeply into the multicolored rock to expose 600 million years of history. A creation of terrible energy and beauty. But the river, that's what concerns us now. Man has been tempted to conquer this river, and boats are here being prepared for such a hazardous venture. On go strips of tough oak, slim shields for the tilt with slashing rocks, an added protection for these half-ton boats designed by our navigator and geologist, Norman Nevels, who's mastered the fury of the Colorado 4 times, a record to which we doff our hats. Now for the 100-mile trip across the burning Arizona desert to keep a rendezvous with triumph or disaster. Down to the world's roughest river in rowboats, 3 of them for this expedition, 9 men for a 19-day trip with food for only the barest necessity stored in watertight compartments. Compartments which must lend life-saving buoyancy against the suction of the rapids. Here it is, 350 of the most treacherous miles of the Colorado. From towering Arizona peaks of ever-changing hue, down the gorge to one of man's greatest creations, Nevada's Boulder Dam and its blue waters of Lake Mead. Our navigator leads off, and with company. Good for the eyes, but no help to the back on these long pulls between rapids. The current here is a lazy 4 to 6 miles an hour, but will speed up to 30 in making the numerous drops, churning the Colorado into muddy consistency of over 15% silt and sand. In all the history of the Colorado, this is the 19th known party to attempt the passage in rowboats. Each man has spent months of conditioning muscle and skin, acclimating himself to the rigors of Arizona's sun, wind, and rain. It's 125 degrees here and no shade. This is it, Badger Rapids, the first. As navigator, Nevels charts the course for shooting each rapid, and the region abounds in mute testimony of careless planning and poor equipment. About 125 men have started at various points, and some 60 have lived to tell about it. The first protection against disaster is a life preserver. Now, we'll follow Olson down the first chute. Fortunately, the first is not as tough as they will come. Here's another passage, over 200 as bad or worse than this one, before we reach the haven of Lake Mead. Keep those hands down. Wow, mud in his eye. Before and after each passage, the same routine with an occasional exploration. This one, a couple of 1,000 feet of perpendicular climb over a treacherous trail to the ancient site of the Cliff Dwellers. Yes, and over rock untouched by human feet probably for more than a century. The Pueblo Indians who lived in this type of home in this area date back about 1,000 years. And though intrepid warriors, these Indians seem to be the only ones who accorded the river its due respect. They never ventured upon it. It just wasn't done. But here we go again. It is being done, and by experts. Nevels has perfected this technique for running rapids. He's approaching a suction pocket broadside. He turns. And into it, stern first. There, he'd have capsized had he been broadside. Facing downstream, he can time the strokes of his oars to miss the rocks and more mountainous waves. This definitely is not facing your danger. Now for the right way, in case you want to try it sometime. He turns easily, then into the waves, face forward. The battle's on. Only one portage was necessary. Here at Hermit Falls. Excessive drop and gigantic boulders in the rocky channel produce falls and suction pockets which promise nothing but destruction for the boats and death to the men. So it's empty the boats, portage for equipment and food, and down the line for each skiff. A canyon which has been seen by few white men offered a startling contrast from the muddy Colorado. Blue, clear, sparkling water, a temptation not to be resisted. The animals of this canyon, having never seen a man or known his work, are more bored than interested. With water like this around, there should be a fisherman, and there is. Here, the unsuspecting trout are only too anxious to accommodate. Until the end of the trip, this is the last blue water our party will see, for it is swallowed immediately on entering the muddy Colorado. And we're off on the last and toughest part of the passage, Sheer Wall Rapids. Upset Rapids. Fishtail. Sockdolager. This is the last, Rapid 233. 233 of the world's roughest waters, and the end of the trip's in sight. Lake Mead, the largest of man-made lakes. The Colorado has been conquered, with this, the only comparable color film in existence to prove it. These men faced their danger and lived to record it.